Okay, so I'm going to, I guess, just do a little bit of ranting. Well, not ranting, just kind of storytelling, I guess. Let me preface this by saying, though, that when I'm talking about hair loss, my journey, my appearance over the last few years, changes in my appearance, changes to my self image, self identity, a whole bunch of things. Um, I think that where I come from is not in terms of vanity or ego or pride, but in terms of self esteem, meaning how I'm able to accept myself and how I perceive myself through the perception of others, how they view me, just where I've come from, where I was, my identity, my status in life, what I did, where I worked, who I associated with, all those things were basically shown to the world by how I styled myself, meaning my hair, my makeup, my clothes. Anyway, so I have hair loss. I'm 33 years old. I have hair loss. I wouldn't. I think it's substantial. The placement of my hair loss is extremely hard to hide, very hard to cover up, very hard to style. Basically, I'll show you. I'm outside and there's neighbors across the street, so I'm kind of self-conscious. Uh, Basically, I'll show. Okay, so I'll show you. I'm really embarrassed. And here's the thing: I've tried so many things to cover it up, including do it yourself. Obviously, I really like tattoos, and I tattoo myself. And I've done my own eyeliner. I've tried scalp micropigmentation, which was really bad, and really bad because of the fact that I did it for the first time with no training, very little research, and I used the wrong ink. So I used the black ink when I should have used a brown, because on your scalp, I don't know why, this black ink turned black, but up here it looks blue. So anyway, I tried to do scalp micropigmentation on myself. This is my bald spot. So it's literally like 6 inches long from the crown of my head to my forehead, and there's even some patches in here, and I have, well, the scar line isn't so bad there, but this whole patch of missing hair here, and then obviously that whole stripe, and then right here I have some, and then anyway, yeah, so obviously this whole stripe down my head. And I tried, so what scalp micropigmentation is, basically it's tattoo, and it's generally for men who have hair alopecia, hair loss. They want to imitate the look of a like shaved head look. So they'll do like, it looks like tiny hair follicles. So I tried to do that, and it didn't, no, well, you can see, I mean, it didn't work. It's blue now, it's not brown, so yeah, it looks really bad. But I'm not even bothered by that. I think I might go over it again, actually. Maybe even just a black stripe this time. I don't know. But yeah, that's, so if I'm outside on a windy day, I always will style my hair like that, basically like a comb over. So if the wind blows my hair, I get really self-conscious that somebody will be able to see what's going on. And I don't like to wear hairspray or hair gel, so hopefully it's not a windy day. But I do have my hair cut into a mohawk. And this is where I probably will have my hair for the, a good part of my life. Anyway, so let me back up. So I used to have long hair. You can tell it's not really thick at all. My hair is actually very fine and limp. See? Very fine and limp. Anyway, I used to have pretty long hair, it went down past my hoo-has. But 4 years ago now, yeah, 4 years ago, I had a bad fall, basically. I landed on my head, which is why my forehead is indented, if you cannot tell, which is also extremely embarrassing for me, especially when people in public stop and stare and gawk and point and do crazy faces. And oh my god, those things, it just makes me feel really bad. Anyway, I mean, like, I need to get that fixed one. I hope I can get it fixed. It's not very safe. I could easily die if I fell and hit my head, or a car crash, head in the dashboard could kill me. Anyway, I had my whole face fractured, whole head was all busted up. So I had to go through a craniotomy. I had 72 staples from here to here. They pulled my forehead down, tried to fix it, put it back together. That got infected. So like there was a screw sticking out of my forehead, and there was an infection that was introduced through that screw. And the infection was called MRSA, which is basically antibiotic resistant bacteria. And that could have been a brain infection, which would have been deadly for me. So I was on antibiotics trying to treat this antibiotic resistant bacteria following an extremely traumatic incident to my head, injury to my head, and 4 post-operative procedures. So finally got to a point where I had to address this resistant infection that was not going away, that was just spreading from here all through there, which eventually resulted in all this hair loss. So I don't have an immune disorder, I don't have alopecia, but I had an infection which attacked my hair for over a year before it finally went away, and which resulted in this hair loss. A young woman going through, experiencing hair loss, it's pretty traumatic. A woman identifies as female, from my view, through her breasts, through her voice, through her hair. Like, those are feminine things. Long, it's just... Anyway, so, for me to have, like, middle-aged man balding, basically, I consider it was horrible. And then the infection, I couldn't grow hair, it was constantly scabby and it was just... So I eventually decided I need to cut this hair off. It needs to go. It's not healing. It's constantly infected. Like, there's no point in trying to... And it's right there. So actually, the reason I'm going to keep the mohawk is the longer my hair gets, believe it or not, the harder it is to hide. Because, like, when the hair is really long, if it parts, like, you could see it like that. Like, imagine if the hair was longer and it was like that. You can see... Anyway, so you feel like you're like, I'm going through a middle-aged bald man. Like, my hair is infected. Anyway, so I just shaved it all off. I shaved my hair. I sported the bald look, wearing caps. Because obviously when your hair is shaved, you can still see the difference between your shaved hair and your bald patches. You know what I mean? So... Like, I'm like, great, now I shaved off my hair, so it's cleaner with regards to the infection, but now you can see, now I look patchy regardless. It wasn't a good look, so I covered it up with wigs and caps and hats and beanies, and wigs were good, but then it became summertime, and let me tell you, human hair wigs are way too expensive. Synthetic wigs will make you sweat like a pig in the summer. Not even in the summer, in the spring, in the fall, in the winter, they make you sweat like crazy. I'd be sitting there, dripping sweat, feeling like a disgusting... So, the wigs were not a good thing. I literally did that for a couple months. Then I ended up sewing yarn dreadlocks. I cut my hair into a mohawk, and then I tried to do yarn dreads, a mohawk yarn dread style. So I wanted to do yarn dreads, and the only way I could do that style, obviously, because you got all the little sections of hairs, which makes that more noticeable. The only way I could do that style was to always wear the dreads up in a bun. So I just looked ridiculous. Like, it just wasn't a look for me to have yarn dreads in a bun. So those had to go. And then I tried sewing hair weaves, hair wefts, in literally hair wefts for wigs. You know, the little the strands with all the hair hanging from them. Tried sewing those into my hair. A sew-in. I tried, like, literally with the net and the mesh and the hair thread and everything. And it looked good, but it was still, I had that patch. So I could have like a long line of hair here, long line of hair here. Literally, like, there's a video on YouTube. These guys are singing in French, dun, 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 and their mohawk claps like this. Dun, 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 dun. It is the funniest thing in the world. When I saw that video, I was laughing my butt off, but embarrassed at the same time, because if my hair was standing up, like, that's what I would do with my hair, to make it clap, because it basically could with the river that runs through it. So anyway, the hair wefts didn't work. So then I was thinking about, well, what about a closure? I tried doing my own sew-in closure. I tried doing my own clip-in closure. I tried buying them. Basically a 6" by 6" piece. So 6 inches this way, 6 inches this way. Basically it's like just the top of the wig. You just on top your hair. Basically a hair topper, or a toupee, I guess, is the man's word for it, a toupee. But that just looked really weird, and like you could always see that it was like just attached to my hair, that it wasn't a part of my hair, especially because of the style I have, right? Like, it's very noticeable, the roots, and then when something is on it. So that didn't work for the style. And I look like a freak with just a regular topper with the hair down. Like, it's so thin, might as well just get a full wig, and then I might as well just sweat all summer. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna grow my hair out. I'm gonna try and do a comb over and see how that works. And hopefully the layers, because it's short, will hide why I cut my hair in the first place. Like I said, just, it was extremely noticeable if my hair was like did that, or I didn't like it. When it's longer, it's much more noticeable. So I can't really grow it much longer than this. Like, just a month, 2 months ago, my hair from here came all the way down to here, and I looked like the villain from The Fifth Element. You know, the dude with the plastic cap on one, and then his hair's like, meh. I looked like him. So I'm like, no, that has to go. I cut it again. Now it's grown out, and this, I think this is a good length. Like, it's got layers, right? So that helps. But any longer than this, and it's not going to work. And I can't do this hairstyle everywhere, because that won't suit me. It has to be something more edgy, which is why I chose the mohawk. Anyway, it's, and you know what the thing is, I don't have a social life. Like, I don't go anywhere, I don't do anything, I don't meet anybody. So it's not as if I'm afraid to be judged by other people, although I am. When I do go out, I am very conscious about the way I look and how people perceive me, and how they think of my forehead, and especially if they can see my balding. But the real thing is, when I'm alone, like when I'm in my house, when I'm laying in bed, and I sleep naked, so I'm very conscious even when I'm alone of how, like, I just don't feel comfortable, especially like all the changes that I've been through physically, emotionally, with everything in my life in the last 4 years. I just don't feel like who I was, so I feel a very big disconnect. But I also feel this, I should have hair, I should have anyway. I feel very much for women who are any age, whether it's older or younger, any health issues or any life circumstances, but hair loss, hair thinning, bald patches, oh my gosh, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. Like, honestly, it's horrible. It's not a good feeling. However, I'm hoping by this 15-minute ranting, rambling, whatever you want to call it, that I've at least conveyed that there are other options. There are a lot of options. I mean, you can do the hair the fibers, the hair topic that you sprinkle the fibers on to build. You can do the micropigmentation. You can do wigs. You can do sew-ins, clip-ons, hats with hair sewn into them, a different hairstyle even. Tattoos. There are a lot of people who do medical tattoos for emotional, psychological reasons. Like, there are a lot of different things. Just know that no matter what you choose to do, no matter what you try, that it's not the last one. There's always something new to try. Hi! And just know that the most important thing is that when you're alone with no one but yourself, the most important thing is how you feel. And if you find that your hair loss doesn't impact you when you're alone, but it impacts you when you're around others, then maybe it's that relationship or those, whatever, maybe it's that's impacting you, not the hair loss itself. So just be aware of where those insecurities and those self-esteem issues are coming from, whether it's an internal thing that relates to identity and, you know, going through changes and grief and things like that, or whether it's, I don't know, like, you know, the status of beauty or whatever. I don't know. I guess it's all interrelated. Anyway, just be good to yourself. Love yourself, please. And just remember that no one is going to judge you harsher than you judge yourself. And you live with your judgments 24/7. So try and do some reflection about how your appearance relating to medical or life circumstance issues or whatnot relates to how you feel about yourself. Because you should, I hope you feel beautiful regardless, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway, best of luck on your journey to find the person that you are meant to be. And bye.